and introduce yourself with music because I think I know you can.
You want me to play you the song that I've just been writing?
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know how this is going to sound through the speakers, but I can also share the link to the song on YouTube. I've been putting these songs on YouTube every single day for the past 32 days. Today is day 33, and I'm on a mission to write 100 songs over 100 days. And this has been originally a practice that's meant to kind of connect me first and foremost to my craft, but has been an amazing way of like processing like a lot of the huge events in the world at the moment, and where I sit within all of them as someone who is an artist at the peak of neoliberal capitalism. And it's a weird place to be honest. And so this is kind of my song for the day that came through. 100 million things to do, but I'ma write them all. 100 people gotta call, but gotta write them all. I'm getting bored of chasing things that never satisfy. The hunger for a pleasure just to know that I'm alive. Nothing that we do is ever making sense to me. And I'm a human, not a cog in this fucked up machine. Spend every moment trying endlessly to get ahead. But I think I'm done with living with a sense of dread. What did we ask for? And could we ask for something more? We got the wrong deal, there's something more for us for sure. My protest is doing nothing at all. Arresting my perception that my words should be conditional. If my taxes fund a war I didn't vote for, should I go and pay them? If they burn the world I love, should I believe a single word they say? I don't think so. And then there's more to it, but maybe I'll just play that as a taster.
That's a good taste. And every single song that you create is with words, or it's also like just song with the music and like humming. What's your strategy here?
Well, I think my strategy with always sorry about that of words, and that's how I got into songwriting. I started copying the words of the bands that I really loved when I was listening to their songs and writing ones that I preferred, which is like a pretty arrogant thing for a 17-year-old to do, thinking that my words were better than the artist that wrote them. But I still did it, and so I fell in love with like trying to process my world through the words. So often it's a mixture. It's like a melody will come with the words, and then they'll have a conversation with each other, and then the guitar might also have like a voice in the picture too, or a piano, or any sort of instrument that I'm kind of like jamming around with. They're all kind of like talking to me and giving me different ideas, and whatever's been like floating around in my head in terms of how I'm relating to someone, or how I'm relating to the world, or how I'm relating to the idea of being a musician, and considering like the immense difficulty in me kind of like saving up for a mortgage, for example. Like I'll take a theme like that and I'll go, how can I express that into the words? And then it becomes a conversation with the page where the words will inform the voice, and the voice will inform the guitar, and then the guitar will inform the melody, and it all becomes like a big conversation with myself and the theme.
Super exciting. What inspired you to start this 100-day challenge? And are there any collaborators, are co-creators of these songs each day sometimes?
So every single one, bar 2, I've written.
Okay.
So that's 31 songs I've written pretty much entirely on my own. One of them was like a couple of verses that a friend had, and I helped him write the rest of the song. Another like song was basically just a guitar part that my friend and I were playing over and over and over again, and so we wrote something from that. So yeah, I would say like pretty much the vast majority of the lyrics and the melodies have been from me, but I don't know. Like I've got a weird relationship to creativity, and if I'm allowed to be a little bit woo woo, I actually find it really helpful when I think of creativity as something that's um, coming from something higher than me, because it helps me be humble with the process and like helps me kind of be grounded that I might have a good idea today, but I might have a really shit one tomorrow. And I think the the difference is often in how humbly I can approach the process. Yeah, and in terms of how I got started with the project, it was kind of like, well, I've been like teaching people how to write songs for a really long time, and it's a like I come across every excuse in the book for why people think that they can't write the songs, and ultimately I feel like it comes down to like unconscious beliefs that are getting in the way of them actually picking up the guitar and having a go. And a lot of the time, like I've been a therapist in these kind of like sessions, kind of like working through specific blocks that people have with like writing these songs. But like I wanted to start this challenge not just so that I could get into a daily practice of it and practice that humility, and also get over my own sense of perfectionism about how songs should sound and how long they should take before they're ready to share with people, but also to kind of like encourage potential songwriters to know that it's not a big deal writing songs, and if you've got the right tool and the right structure, you can write a song every day. And in my case, I'm trying to prove that by writing a song every single day for 100 days. And so it was one of those New Year's resolutions where I thought, oh, cool, let's do it.
Super nice. I like that. I like that. I remember I was living in New York and also really connecting super deeply with a musician on the same spiritual path as me at that point, and he was also on this challenge. He's mostly on the piano, and he was going live. And it was pre 2020 when going live was more of a norm, I guess. And he was going live every day and channeled songs on the spot.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
Also for a consecutive number of days. We were part of the personal development nerds group that really pushed the boundaries of consistency, setting intentions, and making it happen. And just to slide a little bit on a parallel topic, I met you during your workshop on touch.
Yeah.
And that was really, 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 really good. At that point, after 2020 specifically, had a very hard time going to dances and feeling safe to touch people, some psychological thing. And in the workshop that I've experienced with you, I felt like I was coming back to self finally after these years of, and it was 2023, after the years of basically stepping away from these particular, spiritually aware communities. So thank you for unblocking something within me. Can you share about your idea of like, what is that practice about? Why does it help anyone? And anything about that particular workshop that you'd like to share?
So the workshop is called the Human Forest, the Human Forest Experience, and we didn't come up with the like original template. It actually came out of neo tantric events that one facilitator who had experience in Germany and then came back to Australia and started sharing like his kind of like synthesis of these different tantric practices that he called the tantric forest. And so he was running these tantric forests for a long time to kind of introduce the Melbourne conscious community to this world. And along the way, like a few different facilitators picked it up, and then we got exposed to those forests. But where I feel like we really set ourselves apart is just really iterating upon the original structure and strictly kind of like focusing it being like a practice of service. Like you as one of what we call the critters, the givers of touch, your sole purpose in the workshop, at least at that point in time when you are a critter, you get to be both a tree and a critter, and I'll explain what a tree is soon enough. The critters like offer like nothing but presence and devotion and what it means to be of service to the recipients of touch, who are called the trees. And the trees practice really communicating what their boundaries are. They communicate through specific hand signals that we teach them. Some of which, like, we've come up with ourselves as an extension on the original format. And yeah, it's a really powerful thing, I think, particularly for women to experience being trees, because you're blindfolded. And obviously, like, like most women have had the experience of being really unsafe around men, and when you put like a blindfold on them in a touch environment, instantly alarm bells go off, right? And this is like a really healing experience. I feel for them in particular, because it's a real call for them to listen to themselves and ask, what do I want, and what do I need, and to experience on a somatic level what it means to have a no truly respected. And so yeah, it's been a profound project to be a part of. I started it with my ex-wife, and yeah, we really like took off when we were in Melbourne. We started running these like in 2021. So in between these Melbourne lockdowns that Melbourne became infamous for, there was like this huge hunger for touch. And like what we witnessed over the course of those months was that we needed to run these consistently. And so what turned into this living room experience of being just like 20 people in a room turned into something like 80 people attending these workshops. And it was obviously around 2022 that I came to Lisbon and started running them. And I've been back and forth from there intermittently, and I'm now in Bristol running them and kind of like doing it over here. But yeah, it is a pretty profound experience for guys to really put their own needs aside and to practice truly being of service without expecting anything in return. And yeah, for female-bodied participants to really experience what it's like to surrender, and also know that their no's are respected, and to feel safe in their bodies. So yeah,
Super exciting. Yes, I mean, honestly, of the history of going to different type of practices, different type of group experiences, the most incredible satisfaction and inspiration I received from, yes, sure, verbal conscious connecting, anything that has to do with verbal exchange and authentic sharing, authentic communications, and touch therapy, anything that has to do with cuddles and the kind of touch that I've experienced and given at the Human Forest. What is the difference really between the Human Forest and the cuddle parties that are out there, if you know what I mean?
Well, the big thing is that we try to like forge connections, not just with participants and themselves and with others. It's also about like having a deeper embodied connection to our earth, the earth beneath our feet, the trees, like the natural world that sustains us, having that as part of the system. The forests that you've been a part of have been inside,
Mm-hmm.
but the really magical forests that we run are actually like in nature,
Yeah.
where people get to experience having their feet on the ground, and the wind on their skin, and the sun like warming up their faces, and it's a whole different experience. But regardless of whether you're inside or outside, you can still forge a connection with the natural world by just mimicking its processes. Like, we encourage the gifts of touch to really embody the critter that they want to be. It could be a badger. When they're experimenting with touch, they could be a deer, they could be a bird.
Yes, good point. Or grass on the skin, right? The touch of grass with the wind play.
Totally.
Yeah. Question that is very difficult, I feel, on the mind of many couples that go there, or individuals that are in relationships, in a committed partnership with someone. They come in there, how do not feel guilty or jealousy, or if that is felt, that how do you usually help people process that in these kind of environments?
Yeah, I think that's a really awesome question. I mean, it will naturally come up. You know, we don't try to prevent jealousy from arising in people, but like this is where the connection to self is ultimately most important. Because how you hold yourself, you know, how you can sit or stand on your own when you're not receiving touch, when it feels like everyone else. It's like, how do you work with those feelings that come up for you and love yourself? And those are some of the practices that we explore in the workshop. And as far as like couples coming and experiencing it, it's a hugely liberating experience for a lot of the couples that I've spoken to, because they get to work through those pieces and practice like strengthening or securing the attachments they have by seeing the partner with someone else, but knowing that the partner is coming back to them, you know. And I don't think that there are many experiences that are safe and where the focus is on platonic touch, where they really get to like witness their partner experiencing compersion, you know, or pleasure, you know. And yeah, just going back to that question that you asked before, the other really interesting thing about this is that trees don't speak English, right? You know, or any other, you know, human tongue. Like they speak with their gestures and the way they sway and the way they move, and you know, in how they show or shed their leaves. And so there's very very little communication and like verbal communication. I think that's a big distinction between a lot of the cuddle parties and temples and other, you know, intimacy events that you can participate in, because it's language can make things like more clinical than they have to be. And I think we're all looking to be a lot more attuned and embodied when it comes to relating with others.
100%. Yeah. I've never interviewed an Australian here so far, so you're the first one.
Oh, g'day, mate.
Makes you quite unique at this point. I'm very connected with Australians for some reason. You guys are. Maybe it's the distance from the other Eastern Western worlds. Maybe it is the geographical, the energetics of the location, but you have a very soft, you have a very embracing energy, and yeah, that maybe the tone of the frequency of your accent also. I think that's a big one. Tell me, with your career in music and in the consciousness space, what kind of was the guiding light for you initially? Why did you start with the music? Why did you continue with space holding? If there's anything else that you'd like to share that you're basically ignited by right now, please feel free.
Yeah, so I think you know, I stayed with music. Do you want me to turn the light on? Is it pretty dark in here? I don't know how the video's going.
I like it the way it is now, but if you feel guided
No,
that the light
that's
is
okay.
needed,
As long as you're happy. As long as you're happy,
it should be natural.
Okay, cool. It's feeling pretty natural in my messy room right now. Yeah, okay. So I've actually tried to quit music a number of times.
Yeah.
But I've always failed. I've always failed. You know, it's like I feel like there have been times where I've been feeling like I've really been failing at being a musician, whatever that means. And I failed with, you know, trying to do these other jobs that aren't in full alignment with who I am. And I think, yeah, integrity and authenticity, without like trying to be like a poster boy for it or trying to like talk myself up about it, have just been things that like I suck at doing things that aren't really authentic to me.
Yeah.
And when I'm not doing the things that I'm meant to be doing on what I feel, you know, in my own language is like a soul purpose led endeavor. Yeah, like I fall out of connection with it pretty quickly. And so that's the reason why I'm over in Europe now. Like I've consistently like listened to these different callings across the course of my life that have led me to make some pretty dramatic and albeit impulsive decisions, like moving to Europe when I had like a pretty secure life set up for myself with a very loving community and a thriving business with the Human Forest, and upending all of that so I could come to to Europe and pursue like a career in music, whatever that might look like. So